Welcome in. Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Today's show is sponsored by GlassesUSA.com. We'll tell you more about their exciting offers coming up later on in the show. Their exclusive promo link is also in the comments and the description of today's video. On the program this afternoon, we are talking about position battles for your Seattle Seahawks. As they're wrapping up OTAs and the offseason continues, we'll focus on some of the key position battles with your Seattle Seahawks in just a matter of moments. Before we get to that, though, want you to share today's video. And here's what you got to do. Click the share button, select the Twitter icon, then click post to Twitter. If you tag me at Tyler Jones Live, then I will retweet you. And the first 10 people to share today's show and to follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. So if you pat my back, I'll pat your back, and we'll get this show out to as many of our fellow members of the 12s that we can. So if you guys can share that and get this out to the masses, I would certainly appreciate it, and we'll get started with today's show. So I'm going to focus on a few different key position battles for your Seattle Seahawks and some observations I've seen and what others have seen so far at this point of OTAs. Let's begin with the running back position. You have 5 players in particular competing for playing time among these running back spots and also for roster spots with Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet, DJ Dallas, Kenny McIntosh, and Brian Koback. And I'll say this. I have said for a long time Kenneth Walker III is going to be your running back number one. I know some people were speculating, hey, Zach Charbonnet, is there anything he could do to potentially take that mantle away from Kenneth Walker III? I don't really think so. But I do think that when you go to the next tier of running back with Kenneth Walker III being your bell cow, you are going to have some competition to decide how you want to split the rest of those touches. And so far, Pete Carroll likes what he's seen from the running back position to this point, saying, yeah, they're catchers for sure. Kenny McIntosh is a really natural athlete. You can just see it in everything that he does. Zach Charbonnet does everything well. He's just a complete ball player. I know Kenneth Walker III has been really impressed with those guys too, and that's for a guy to say stuff about his young teammates like that. He comes out and he's been outspoken about it. That's a statement, so they look really good. Walker is going to be your leading rusher, barring some injury of some sorts. He is that guy. But I think you're going to see Zach Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh have a big impact. I think they are going to pass up DJ Dallas in the depth chart and be the next guys in line. I think Zach Charbonnet becomes your number 2 back, and we see him in some 2-back sets and heavily involved. And if something were to happen to Kenneth Walker III, I would feel more than comfortable with turning things over to Zach Charbonnet to be that number 2 running back. With Kenny McIntosh, I think he's going to be very effective in the receiving game and being that athlete that you heard Pete Carroll talk about there. Very excited to see what this running back room puts together. And we've seen that Seattle loves to use their running backs. There's an emphasis on running the football in this offense. Got to have multiple backs. Seattle's got a good running back room on their hands. Who will be the Seahawks leading rusher this season? This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break, if so take advantage of it. Get your votes in and tell me what you think. Who will be Seattle's leading rusher? Give me one name. Is it Kenneth Walker or is it somebody else? Let me know what you think. More Seahawks Today coming up in just a moment, but first, are you tired of paying a lot on prescription eyeglasses? Then this message is for you. My new Muse Vicky prescription eyeglasses are from GlassesUSA.com. If you didn't already know, GlassesUSA.com is one of the biggest eyewear retailers in the U.S., offering thousands of eyeglasses and sunglasses from brands such as Ray-Ban, Gucci, Oakley, and many more. What's best about GlassesUSA.com is that glasses start at only $39, which are up to 70% off retail prices. There is a crazy exclusive offer waiting for my followers by clicking the links in the description box. GlassesUSA.com is also the perfect place to stock up and save on contact lenses. You get 25% off all contact lens brands, Vista, AccuView, Biofinity, Dailies, and many more. They're available with any prescription and for all uses. They also got a super helpful AR virtual try-on tool to help find your right frames. Also, shopping online at GlassesUSA.com is a risk-free shopping experience with free shipping and returns and 100% money-back guarantee within 14 days. Don't wear prescription eyeglasses? Well, don't worry. I also got these, the Otado Roland sunglasses from GlassesUSA.com. Get the exclusive discount only available to Seahawks Today viewers by clicking on the links in the comments and the description box. It's only available for 24 hours. Once again, thank you, GlassesUSA.com, for sponsoring today's video. Shades, glasses, whatever you're feeling, they got you covered. GlassesUSA.com. Let's move on to the wide receiver position now. We already know that the top two targets for the Seahawks will be DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But that number 3 wide receiver spot, the assumption is that Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be that guy. But Dareke Young, also Cody Thompson, and Dee Eskridge are all competing for playing time as well. In particular, Dee Eskridge with the most important offseason of his life right now, trying to keep a job, right? Well, Jaxon Smith-Njigba has been something special, and he's caught the attention of everybody, including Michael Bumpus of Seattle Sports Radio 710, and former wide receiver, of course, at Washington State and briefly with the Seattle Seahawks. He had a great evaluation of Jaxon Smith-Njigba, saying this: I look at his route running. Every receiver who was out there during minicamp can run routes or they wouldn't be there. But it's different the way he drops his hips and shifts his weight. It's different the way he fires off the ball. It's different when he goes up and grabs the ball out of the air. Honestly, I think this is going to be Jaxon Smith-Njigba's time to shine. And all indications are that he's going to have a really nice year in 2023. And we heard the rumblings yesterday, the talk of the Seahawks looking at having one of the better wide receiving cores in the entire National Football League. And Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be a big part of that. And we've seen, you go back to his days at Ohio State when he was in a crowded wide receiver room then, alongside Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. He still made his presence known even back then. And I think he'll do the same with this Seahawks team this year. I would be shocked if he's not that wide receiver number 3, but look out for those other guys to still try to be competitive and have their moments to shine here throughout the next portion of the offseason to this point. Now let's look at the interior of the offensive line. The center and the right guard positions are up for grabs for this Seahawks team. The center spots, our boy Olu from Michigan and Evan Brown are competing for those spots. And then Phil Haynes and Anthony Bradford are competing for the right guard spots. And I got to tell you, I really like what the future presents of what Olu and Anthony Bradford bring to the table. I think Anthony Bradford more than likely is probably closer to being ready to play right away than Olu is at this point. Future is bright with both those guys. But in all reality, it could be dangerous to start 2 rookies right away. The Seahawks did that last year with Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, and both guys obviously showed some flashes, but there were some bumps along the way. I don't know if you want to do that with the interior of the offensive line with guys that were picked much lower than what we saw last year with Lucas and Cross in that sense. So I think that the veterans here have the edge for now, but watch out for Bradford and Olu to have their opportunities to get playing time, and maybe by the halfway point of the season, we're talking about one or both of them potentially starting on that offensive line for Seattle. Will any rookies start for the Seahawks week 1? What do you think? Whether it's on offense or defense, is this the rookie's time to shine, to take over and start from the jump for this Seahawks team? Let us know what you think in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. Chime in and let us know what you think. Subscribe to the channel all off-season long as we transition from OTAs. Get you ready now for training camp. We'll have it covered here on the channel. We'll do our live shows on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, bringing you our daily segments as well. Subscribe for free today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. To the cornerback position we go now. 5 names to watch, all competing for those top cornerback spots for the Seattle Seahawks. Dareke Young coming off a Pro Bowl campaign where he tied for the league lead in interceptions last season. The number 5 overall pick, Devon Witherspoon. Mike Jackson, who everybody was impressed with. More on that here in just a second. Trey Brown, the former Oklahoma corner, and then Kobe Bryant, the second-year corner out of Cincinnati. All 5 guys have shown flashes at times. Obviously, we're waiting to see what Devon Witherspoon does, but nonetheless, where does this position stack up? Mike Jackson, it was believed to be that he would be losing his starting role to Devon Witherspoon. But in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, as Pete Carroll had this to say about Mike Jackson, what he's done to this point. We all have flexibility we need. Mike Jackson's had the best camp of anybody. Came in and had a great camp, and he stepped up for the challenge of it. Had just a really productive, almost dominant camp for us, and so that's great to see. We need it. Then as far as Devon Witherspoon goes, who he's competing against for playing time at that outside corner spot, Devon Witherspoon also with a lot of praise within the organization. Tyler Lockett had this to say about Witherspoon. I love him. I love the way he plays. Being able to see how he plays when we're out there doing faster walkthrough, when I'm watching him out there as he's doing his little movements, you can tell he knows the game. Seattle's got a good problem on their hands here. They have a lot of different options here at this cornerback position. They are in good hands. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the starting outside corner, whether it's Witherspoon or Mike Jackson, whatever it may be. Witherspoon is obviously the future. He and Dareke Young and Kobe Bryant. Those guys, I think, are going to be your 1-2-3 punch at corner for a very long time. But with Dareke Young coming off of injury, I think just having Mike Jackson there is a good thing. I don't know necessarily what that cornerback room looks like when the season starts, but you have flexibility, you have options. It will all work itself out one way or the other. I believe that they're going to make the right decision, and you're going to see the best players get the best amount of playing time, and things work out one way or the other. Injuries happen. You'll see them make the most of what they can. Then there's the safety spot. Jamal Adams coming off of injury. Quandre Diggs, of course, coming off a Pro Bowl season. And then one of the newest members of the Seattle Seahawks, Julian Love, who they signed from the New York Football Giants. 3 starting caliber safeties, all in that same safety room. Who plays when, in theory, there's only 2 safety spots? Well, listen to this from Lee Vowell of 12th Man Rising. This is another deep position group for the Seahawks. If Jamal Adams isn't ready week 1, Love can step in, and there wouldn't be much, if any, of a drop-off. Love is great against the run, though he lacks Adams' ability to blitz as well. I know people are going to make a big deal about who's starting and who's not, but I think what you're going to see out of the Seahawks defense, a lot of 3 high safety techniques. I think you're going to see times where Jamal Adams lines up with the linebackers. All 3 of these guys are going to play. And then not to mention, kind of like we talked about with other positions, there's the injury factor here. When you think about Jamal Adams, there's probably a decent chance that all 3 guys aren't going to be healthy at the same time throughout the year. All 3 are going to play. I think, in theory, it's Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs holding up those 2 main spots, and then Julian Love you throw in there and get those 3 safety packages, and you just get them on the field and figure out. It's going to be okay. That's how I see this thing working, and you got flexibility. It's going to work out for Seattle. They're in good shape, and you're looking at between the safety room and the corner room, one of the best, if not the best, secondaries in all of football as far as I'm concerned. Best safety the Seahawks have. Is it Jamal Adams? Is it Quandre Diggs? Or is it Julian Love? Weigh in the comments section. Type JA for Jamal Adams. Type QD for Quandre Diggs, and type JL for Julian Love. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. You can follow me there. And before we go, make sure to check out GlassesUSA.com. Big thanks to them for sponsoring today's video, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.